This is an OJHL Tonight one-on-one with Your TV Quinny. David Foote here in the Your TV Quinny studios in Belleville. And with everything going on around the world right now with people dealing with COVID-19, especially those in the realm of hockey, we thought it might be a good chance to check in with the now reigning defending OJHL Coach of the Year, Derek Smith from the Wellington Dukes, and find out a little bit more about how he and the team and others around the league are dealing with the sudden stop to the season, especially given the expectations of what was to come for the Dukes, who were the best team in the OJHL. Smitty, how you holding up, man? How you been?
Hey, Footy. Good talking to you.
It's been a while.
Other than just my wife every day. I love seeing her, but she's the only person I see right now, so it's nice seeing you.
Yeah, you too. How have things been since the season ended, just in general? I assume, like a lot of the rest of us, a lot of time spent at home.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Obviously, when we got news a couple weeks ago that this whole pandemic was taking place and Hockey Canada decided to cancel the rest of the season, it was frustrating. We had some really, really, really high hopes for a long playoff run, and just seeing the look on the overagers' faces and the guys that are leaving on to the next level and not getting a chance to really go to battle and compete and try to win a championship in their last year was tough. But now seeing what's going on in the rest of the world and how serious this is, it's obviously Hockey Canada made the right call, and now it's just up to us each and individually to kind of just do our part, and I guess they say flatten the curve. And it's been a lot of time at home reflecting on the last year. Kind of, we're making plans already about players coming in and what we're going to do and when we can get training camp and going again. But a lot of it's just, communications over the phone with management and staff. But as for right now, it's pretty much just status quo and hanging out at home.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially around the game here in Canada, feel the same way, that obviously the right decision was made given the circumstances. But how do you process something like that? I mean, you talk about the overage guys who, maybe were still playing to try to get, a spot somewhere else next year. How do you deliver that message, and how do you kind of process the fact that the season is just over with so much playoffs especially left to go?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we prepared. It was the Thursday night before Trenton, I think. I'm not sure the date, but we talked. We had practice. We were planning on either playing game one or going to meet the next morning. And before you know it, the call came in from Hockey Canada, and we had some conversations with the guys in the room. But at that point, it was kind of just letting the guys, spend one last day together, and they had a lot of good memories, and they were obviously upset in the room, and they spent the day together. And then from that, me and Todd Reed had some exit interviews over the phone with the guys last week, kind of just say goodbye, say thanks, kind of go over their year and talk about them moving forward. Unfortunately, there are some guys that wanted long playoff runs that needed to get jobs next year. Some guys are looking for some scholarships that, in my mind, the longer we played, there was a good chance they were going to get them. And they still might, and I hope for their sake they do. But that's unfortunate, with the way the world is right now, that, a lot of things that people expected aren't happening. And now it's kind of just about trying to get life back to somewhat as normal as possible, as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and of course we have no idea when that's going to happen and how that's going to happen as far as operations go. Looking back on the season, obviously the Dukes were the top team in the OJHL. We were getting set for what I feel like was going to be the most anticipated series of the Buckland Cup playoffs with the Trenton Golden Hawks. First off, how disappointing is it to not get that rivalry matchup in the playoffs that everybody had been looking forward to? And then how far do you think your club could have gone given the success that they saw in the regular season?
Oh, yeah. First of all, with Trenton, I mean, our players were so dialed in. We were fired up. It hasn't happened in quite a few years. I think it, from last I heard, was 2011 maybe. Trenton and Wellington met in the playoffs. So it's great for the local, local sports. It's great for all the fans. Our players were really looking forward to it. I was lucky enough when I played for Wellington, I got to play them in an East Division championship in Trenton. It was Game 7. It was a great series, and I know that both sides were definitely looking forward to this. Obviously, we'll never know what would have happened, but we feel like the players we had and how dialed in they were, and the hard work and commitment they put in all season long, realistically, the sky was the limit. We're probably we have the highest unbeaten streak in the country right now. I think it's 17. And to end the season like that, obviously there's going to be some what if scenarios, but from the season we had, there's no regrets. Everybody had a lot of fun. They loved coming to the rink every day. They were a pleasure to be around. Our staff was great. All in all, it was a very, very productive year. And I know that we definitely can look back and saying that this is one of the best seasons, I think, in Wellington Duke's history.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the organization as a whole has been on a bit of a heater the last couple seasons, back-to-back trips to the Buckland Cup final, obviously, the RBC Cup final run that you were a part of as an assistant a couple years ago. Looking back at your first season as head coach and, what led to winning Coach of the Year, and congratulations, by the way. What lessons did you learn in your first year as a head coach? Was there anything that maybe surprised you taking over the reins as opposed to what you experienced in a couple seasons behind John Druce?
I guess just a little added stress. I guess that's the biggest thing. With Druce, he's such a good coach. He was such a great human being, and he was a treat to be around. And I learned a lot from him, coaching and just how to be a good person. And I think that really set me up for success, or at least it helped me develop my own way. But this season coming in, I had Todd Reed, who's been a coach for a lot of years at this level, and Sean Turner. Rob Ridgely was around a lot, and Johnny Cotton. So there's a lot of people that have been around the game, around junior hockey for long enough that really helped me, kind of get to the coach I wanted to be. But, I mean, that all said, you have to have the right people in place and players. And the leadership core we had with Ben Evans and Ryan Smith and Dawson Ellis and, the rest of the 19 and 20-year-olds, they were fantastic. They definitely made it easy on me. I leaned on them a lot. I really did. And that just goes to show you the character they had and how bad they wanted it. They wanted to win. They wanted to have fun every day. They wanted to work their butts off, and they wanted to get to the next level. And because of their leadership, I think that's a huge success, or reason why we had the success we did. And I wouldn't able to be able to lean on them if they weren't such good young men.
And I mean, you mentioned Dawson Ellis and earlier guys who are still looking to get commitments or find the place to play next season. There have been a couple of your guys commit over the last week or so as well, and I think that's just a little bit of proof as to how strong of a season they had and the amount of work they were able to get done and accomplish over what ended up being a shortened campaign.
Yeah, there's some people that are ready to move on to the next chapter in their life. We have Jacob Breckles that is going to leave a year early. He's ready to go to school. He's ready to move out on his own and take on the next chapter. So he's going to Adrian College along with Dawson Ellis. It's in Detroit, I think, just outside of Detroit. And it's a great school, a great program. They have a lot of history. I think Torrey Krug's older brother is a head coach there. He does a good job. I know that he expects a lot from his players, and they're really expecting some good things from our two incoming guys. Quinn Hanna's at U of T. That's a big deal for him. He was, a little stressed out this year about what he was going to do and find the right program. And obviously, he made the decision to go to Toronto, and he's definitely expected to go in there and play a big role. And I'm excited for him. He's come a long way. We got him a year and a half ago, and obviously putting up the numbers he did, he's an offensive force. But he's developed so much on the ice of being a true number one defenseman to being able to play both sides of the puck. He's a physical specimen, and he was a huge part of why we did what we had in 2018-19, and this year being an older leader and obviously leading the OJ in points for defensemen is pretty special, and we're definitely going to miss guys like that.
There's going to be a fair bit of retooling for the club as opposed to last offseason. Tough to say right now, I'd imagine, exactly how the offseason plan shapes up, but how do you see these next few months going? And while the pro leagues haven't put an absolute full stop to their seasons, and it is disappointing that the OJ has, does that maybe help a little bit as far as preparing for next year now that you don't have to worry about, we might start playing again? You can kind of flip the page right now and start looking ahead?
Yeah, obviously in junior hockey, it's every year is for the most part a rebuilding year, right? You have some pieces coming back, and we're fortunate that we have some really good pieces coming back, some really good people, some good players, but it's always about getting the next influx of young talent, young good people, to try to fill out your roster. And we're missing some good ones. We're going to be missing Jake Gagnon, as everybody knows, was one of the leading scorers in the league and committed to RPI. Frank Vitucci, Dylan Massey, Noah Massey. There's some good pieces there, some really good players, some good leadership. Ryan Smith, Ben Evans, Dawson Ellis, and we're going to miss them. We really will. But, we have our 2 goaltenders coming back still. And then we have guys like Justin Paul, Ben Woodhouse, Daniel Panetta, Brody McDougall. We have some good guys up front that can play. And then obviously Ben Addison and Brett Hummerstone have been huge parts of our defense success the last 2 years. They've been leaders already. Humby was an assistant captain for us this year. And their experience, playoff knowledge, and they treat their bodies like men and pros. And it's going to come into obviously a little bit of turnover on the back end next year, but they're going to be huge pieces and huge parts. And obviously it's tough to see guys move on, but that's the nature of the beast. And this is a development league, and we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to move on to the next level. So we're happy for those guys, and for the guys coming back, we're realistically ready to get back at it right now with some unfinished business.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it, unfinished business for sure. It's going to be a long off season, but we can't wait to get back out to the Duke Dome and get on the ice again, just like I'm sure you guys are feeling the same way. Derek Smith is the head coach of the Wellington Dukes, the now defending OJHL Coach of the Year. Thanks for doing this, Smitty. Stay healthy.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon.